Hi scholars! Today's information and much more can be found in our LearnCurious Companion books, which are available on Amazon and currently cover skills for the digital SAT verbal modules and the algebra portions of the math modules. We have more planned yet to come, so stay tuned for those. Let's dive in to our first little mini lesson.
So one of the most important things that I love to teach my students about is the difference between a goal and a dream. And it's super important to understand this difference in order to progress your studies efficiently and effectively. So a goal is something that you have to plan out and work toward to achieve. It's really helpful to break it down into small pieces, make a to-do list, cross it off, get those little dopamine boosts, whereas a dream is an unplanned goal, so something that we dream about, but we haven't really planned out or know how to get to. So it's really important to first establish a difference between those two and ask yourself, what you're looking to do. What goals do you have? How can you turn them from dreams into goals? And how can we plan it out? How can we work? And so next we'll talk about a process for doing exactly that. So again, to make things happen, you want to structure your goals into small steps, make up an actionable plan, and then commit to it. The committing to it is also essential, building up that discipline muscle. Discipline certainly acts like a muscle. The more you do it, the more strong your ability to discipline yourself gets. So it's not easy. If it were easy, everybody would be doing it and we wouldn't be having this video. But it does get easier once you learn what works for you. So we want to try different things, kind of experiment with, the plan, the work, the lists, all of that. And to do that, you must practice setting goals often. So it can be small goals, big goals, medium-sized goals, and then note what helps you to achieve them. So start a spreadsheet, start a little list, keep track of what's working for you, what little reward systems or reward economies you can set up for yourself that helps you to actually turn these dreams into goals. So next, let's talk about what makes up a good goal. So a good goal is first and foremost specific, small, and within your control. So certain things like a grade or a score on a test aren't necessarily within your control, but studying for it and tracking your progress and noticing patterns are certainly within your control. So we want to focus on what's within control, and that is the process. So we can't control the outcome, but we can control the process, and that is a super important distinguishing feature of what separates effective studiers from dreamers. So we can't usually guarantee that we'll win the game, for example. That's an outcome-based thinking process, and we can't really control it, but we can control how we prepare for things, and that is the study process, setting a good goal for becoming an effective studier. The second important feature of a good goal is that it is written down and reward-driven. So you want to write down exactly what you want, ideally in those small pieces that we were talking about, and what exactly you need to do to get it. So write down everything you can think of that would contribute to that goal, that is something that is within your control and very specific. So all of this ties together. And lastly, and most importantly, what you'll reward yourself with for achieving it. So achieving those small parts of the goals. Use little things that you crave as micro motivators. So whether it's, a few minutes of a game that you like to play or a level of a game that you like to play, say, okay, I'm going to study for half an hour, I'm going to study for X amount of minutes, and then I'm going to play X amount of minutes of this game, or I'm going to play a level of this game that I like. I recommend against using food as a motivator. It can create, negative associations with dopamine responses and food that can become unhealthy over time. But little things like games or, going outside for a walk or something like that that's, healthy and rejuvenating can really be great rewards. But you know yourself best, so it's important to choose something that will actually motivate you, something that will drive that focus and get you through to the next part of your goal. And the third component of what makes up a good goal is that it is part of your bigger picture. So the smaller steps you divide the project into, the better. And we want something that is going to, get us to that end goal, get us to the ultimate dream that we have turned into a goal by making it into a process, by creating nice small little steps. So starting with a dream, turning it into a goal can be an excellent process. So say your dream is to get into a T20 school or a T50 school. That's the dream, but how do we get there? So we have to make it a process. One of those steps is probably, getting a good score on the SAT or ACT, or perhaps, keeping your GPA up. So those are the goals that we need to then task out into small steps. And so we're likely to start with small tasks rather than big ones. It can be daunting at first to, try to tackle a goal as big as getting into one of those schools or something like that. But again, you have to make it happen. So it's going to be a matter of you setting yourself the goal, setting up that reward economy, and not waiting and relying on others, which is putting others or luck in control of your life. And we don't want that. You got to be in control. You got to get yourself where you want to be. Another good thing about this goal process is that feeling in control makes our brains happy. And we're more likely to kind of cooperate with ourselves about reaching these goals if we work in a little bit of this practical psychology. We tend to see more progress when we feel like we have more freedom of choice. And so setting these goals up, having agency over what we're doing in what order, can absolutely help us achieve these goals even faster. So a good little mini question to ask yourself now, if you have a piece of paper handy, is what are some things that you can control? What goals would you maybe like to set for yourself? And what are some steps along the way that would help you achieve them?
Again, all of this information and much, much more can be found in our LearnCurious Companion books, which are available on Amazon, and the links are right down in the description.